Hey, everybody. Really excited to speak with Joshua, who just went from nursing and broke into a great company in tech sales. We're obviously really excited for you, and we're going to dive into a lot of the things you had to do along the way. Maybe as a starting point, just sharing a little bit more about your background with everyone and what got you looking at tech sales in the first place.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you, Eric, for the introduction. I would say my background is a bit similar to yours. So I did my undergraduate degree, got my degree in nursing, and started working off in the ICU for the past couple of years. And I did a lot of really cool, really interesting procedures there. And I enjoyed the work overall. But assessing my career growth and looking at my compensation over the next 3, 5, 10 years out, I felt like there wasn't much more room for me to grow. So that's what really got me looking into tech sales in general. And given that I've already had a passion for business, investing in companies, just always been a fan of the business world, I thought it was a good time for me to make the switch.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know certainly something that I ran into, Chris has run into in terms of just really weighing this career versus other kind of standard, more predictable paths. On that note, so you do decide, hey, I need to make a change from what I'm doing. What kind of got you looking at tech sales, and what did you do leading up to ultimately joining Higher Levels?
Yeah, honestly, I was just looking at, what are the options there. I definitely wanted something there where you'll get paid based on the work that you put in. I really appreciate the compensation aspect of it. And there's just a lot of opportunity for growth, whether you want to be an AE or going more on the manager side of things. So I definitely just did a lot of research on YouTube. I actually watched a lot of your free videos on YouTube first, as well as Connor. So did a lot of research, got a lot of value out of the free videos. And looking at the course, I was like, if the free videos are this good, I'm definitely going to learn something really valuable from investing in the course.
I love it, Joshua. And I guess like when you decided like, okay, I'm gonna invest in something, obviously you're getting a lot of value from the videos. Was there anything like, were you looking at anybody else, any other courses, any other boot camps or programs, or was it just kind of like you're 100% dialed in, like Higher Levels has provided so much value on YouTube? Or was there anything else that kind of went into the decision-making process of saying, hey, Higher Levels feels like the right thing to go with?
For me personally, I just saw the value in the free YouTube videos. I could tell you guys are straight to the point. You have a lot of value. You have a lot of experience already. And, I really appreciated the fact that, you have direct access to you guys as well as Connor and some other, people with a lot of experience. So those are really the main factors that factored into my decision as to go with Higher Levels compared to other courses out there.
I guess now that you've been through the course, what do you think? And I want to call out as well that I think your approach to doing this is the right way to go about it. Like we were talking about this before we even started recording, but you picked up the phone, you cold called like hiring managers, recruiters, which is like, we always tell people that's the way to go. But I guess now that you've gone through the program, was there a specific segment or area of the program that made you say, this is a strategy I'm going to follow, or maybe an area that was more impactful than the rest?
Yeah, I think you guys, I don't want to give away all the secrets here, but yeah, you guys really honed in on, doing the outreach like you would do on the job, and getting the interview is part of the interview process, I think, because everyone, like you guys mentioned, everyone hits LinkedIn, Easy Apply, or they just apply on the company website. And there you're going to be standing, it's really hard to stand out against hundreds of other people that have done that. And they're just not going to really look at your resume in depth. They're really just skimming through all the hundreds of applicants they have. So I thought to myself, how can I stand out compared to everyone else, especially since I don't have a business experience coming from the healthcare field? So yeah, doing that, I really started using Apollo, using a free account, just messaging as many people as I could. I think I was in the several hundred people I messaged and emailed, honestly. So yeah, just
Awesome.
doing that, emailing, messaging, and then I was nervous, but ultimately I cold called as well. And that's actually how I got my position today.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know I'd love to double tap on that and maybe a few questions. This is a really unique time. We're not the people that blindly say anyone and everyone should do tech sales, but on the opposite side of that, I do think there's a lot of people that would say, hey, I'm a nurse working in the ICU. how the heck does that translate to tech sales? So maybe just reiterating, aside from what I've got a couple questions. I'm trying to stay focused here, but the first one being like getting that resume even noticed. You mentioned your cold calling, and if you want to expand on your approach there, that would be great. But really, like, how do you, for someone on the outside that's skeptical, I'm a nurse, I'm a teacher, I'm a policeman, whatever it might be. You don't have tech, you don't have sales experience. How did you consistently start to get some traction and even notice for interviews in the first place?
Yeah. That's a really good question. So I definitely still going through the application route. I honestly wasn't getting much responses or replies based on just applying, sending my resume and filling out whatever forms they had. And there's definitely, resume workshops that within Higher Level that I should have attended, but I was just tight on time and everything. But the reason why I didn't attend those workshops is because I had a lot of success doing my outreach, sending emails and cold calling. I was getting a lot of success. So I was like, if my resume isn't where it's at, it's okay. I'm getting, responses through the outreach. And that's something I do want to touch on because, given that I don't have sales experience, they don't expect the outreach to be perfect, honestly. They respect the hustle, and that's what they're really looking for because there's training and you can learn all the other skills afterwards, I think.
Yeah, it really is. Like, you learn so much too by actually getting out there, messaging, not getting responded to and getting responded to. Because then I think, honestly, there is a piece of this where it's like, if you don't get responded to enough, you just stop overthinking it. You focus on really the quality and enhancing that. Maybe just speaking to one of the things we were talking about before we started this recording, you mentioned that some companies totally fine with your background. Others were like, this is kind of like new territory for us to potentially hire a nurse. How do you overcome that? How do you convince them that this is a transition that you are ready to make and excel at?
Yeah, I think it's definitely just, telling good stories in the interview process, telling them, how your experiences in whatever your previous background is, how you can apply that and really be successful in the SDR job. Because, you're going to be facing a lot of rejection in the SDR job, a lot of, and it requires a lot of hustle, consistency, and really reiterating to get better. So however your experiences in your background can, however your previous background can really apply to your future position as a SDR.
Definitely agree with that. And I think I'd be curious too, you don't have the sales experience per se on paper. Yeah. You're learning this as you're going. In your final round interviews, if you had any exercises or mock cold calls or discovery calls, I'd be curious your learnings from that or advice to someone also that didn't have formal sales experience beforehand.
Yeah, for sure. So there's really good topics that are covered in the course talking about, how to do a discovery call, how to cold call someone, and how to give a presentation. And it's really helpful learning directly from, reps that have a lot of experience selling for several years. And, just studying that and applying that in my presentations and final round interviews really helped a lot, to the point where managers were actually saying, like, that actually nearly matches exactly what we do here. Like, how did you get this? Like, were you talking to SDRs on our team? But no, I just got everything from the course, honestly.
That's awesome, man. No, I think it takes a lot of guts. Like, even just a simple act of picking up the phone and cold calling a recruiter or a hiring manager, like it's a simple act, but I think a lot of people, they get like analysis paralysis where they're like, oh my God, what should I say? How should I structure it? It needs to be perfect. I got to go practice with my parents, my spouse, and everything before they actually pick up the phone and just do it. I think a lot of people just forget that, like, even you just doing that is going to put you in a whole different league than other people. You don't have to be perfect. And so I really commend you for taking that first step. I mean, I think other folks out there watching this, like, I think that's one of the biggest key takeaways is just don't be afraid of doing what others aren't, because that's how you really separate yourself. That's how, even with an atypical background or even with no experience or background or degree, you can break in without a problem, right? So I love that, Joshua. I think you absolutely crushed it. I guess for anybody else out there, like, do you have any tips for people that maybe have a similar background as you, or maybe if you could go back in time, give yourself some, or give your younger self some piece of advice, what would it be?
Yeah, I think honestly, you just got to get out there, start doing the outreach. Interviews are going to be uncomfortable at the start, but the only way you get through that is through doing more of them. So doing more outreach, getting the reps in, and that's all the advice that I would give myself going through this process.
Nice. I love it. Short, simple, straight to the point. So, well, awesome, Joshua. Appreciate the time. This was solid. I think there's a lot of good stuff in here. So we're going to leave your LinkedIn down below. So for anybody else watching this, if you want to get some fifths or tips on how to crush it, make sure you reach out to Joshua. Joshua, if you're not too busy ramping into Motive, might be a good conversation. But yeah, this was killer. Eric, I'll throw it over to you.
Yeah, no, congrats again, man. I mean, Motive's a great company, and yeah, I love just getting after it. Keep going. Excited to see where it's going to be 6, 12, 24 months from now.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.